Good morning, students. Let us see what we have already discussed in this unit. So we have seen introduction of this neural network or artificial neural network, that is ANN. We have seen what ANN stands for and how this neural network is useful, and the comparison of this neural network to the human brain operations and operates, right? Now we have also seen the introduction of these elements that has been used as in this connection list architectures. We have seen first topic of this, that is hope-wide networks. We have understand what is hope-wide networks. We have also seen this artificial neural network architecture, that is the three-layered architecture, that input layer, hidden layer, and output layer. Now, today's topic is of learning in neural networks. So basically, it's a short topic. We are going to cover it quickly. So this neural network is generally made up of neurons, right? So it is connected to each other. That is that forms a network, right? That forms a neural network. So at the same time, each connections of this or of our neural network is generally associated with the weight that detects the importance of this relationship in the neurons, and when it multiplied by the input values. Here, this neurons has an activations functions into it, and it will define the output of that particular neural network or that particular neurons, right? So here the activations functions is generally used to introduce the non-linearity in the modeling capabilities of the network, right? So this is the particular neural network thing that it is generally made up of, or not generally, but it is made up of neural various neurons, and that is that the neurons is internally connected with each other, right? So at the same time, this connections of neural network is associated with the weighing that detected the importance of their relationship, this particular neural network, right? So these are the of three phases of learning. So first phase of this is forward propagation, second is loss function, and third one is backward propagation. Now we need to understand how these three phases are working. Right, so coming to the first one, that is the forward propagation. So forward propagation is nothing but the first phase, right? That is forward propagation, and it occurs when the network is exposed to the training data, right? So when this network will be introduced to that particular training data, then this will cross the entire neural network first of all for the predictions or labeling and or calculations, right? So the first phase is forward propagation over when the network is exposed to the training data, and then this cross the entire neural network for the prediction, right? That is labels to be calculated, right? So that is the passing of the input data through the network in such a way that all the neurons apply the transformations there to the information that will be received from the neurons of the previous layer, and sending it to the neurons of the next layer, right? So what it will do, it will pass those input data through the network first of all in such a way that all the neurons is generally applied the transformation to the information they receive first of all, and from that particular neurons to the previous layer, and then it will send this to the neurons to the next levels, right? So when the data has crossed all the layers, right, then all its neurons have made their calculations. After that, the final layer will be rich with the result as of labeled predictions and several input examples, right? So it will work like that. So this is about the forward propagation in that is the first layer or first phase of learning. Right now, coming to the second phase, that is loss calculation. Here, this term loss calculation is generally used to estimate the loss or error, we can call it, to compare, measure how good or bad our prediction result will be. Right. So, when this predicted result was in a relation to the correct result, that is, remember that we are in supervised learning environment, right? So, and we have a label that tell us expected values, right? So that will see the loss functions is generally used for this estimation of the loss or error, we can call it. So ideally, this want our cost to be zero. So that is without divergence between estimated and expected values, right? Therefore, as a model being trained, the weight of the interconnections of these particular neurons will be gradually adjusted until good predictions are obtained, and by that way, it can calculate those errors. Now, coming to the last step of this learning, that is the backward propagation. Once the second step is completed, that means the loss has been calculated, then those information is propagated to the backward propagation, right? Hence it's of, and the name itself tell you the thing, that is backward propagation, that is starting from the output layer that lost some information, propagate to all the neurons in the hidden layer, and that will contribute directly to the output layer, right? So these neurons of a hidden layer only will receive a fraction of total signal of the loss, right? And based on that particularly or relatively contribution that each neurons has contributed to the original output. So this process is repeated until the error is collected. So layer by layer it will be performed, and until all the neurons in the network have received the loss signals, right? So it will done by it will work like step by step. So that will describe the relative contribution to that total loss into that particular network, right? So this is how this this whole learning process would will take in place. Right. Here you can see the forward propagation diagram of forward propagation. How this forward propagation, that means how layered by layer, that is, here you can see that it's input layer, then hidden layer and output layer, right? So this will take the data, the input layer will take the data, and it will further do processing and pass it on to the hidden layer, and then that filtration and everything will be done, relation check will be done with the data, and those final calculations or loss estimation or calculation will be done, and it will forward it to this particular output layer, and then by this way this forward propagation, then if there will be any loss in the signal or loss in the data, then it will go for the backward propagation. That means it will start from the output layer, then it will goes to next layer, that is hidden layer, and those signal will be generated for the input layer, right? So by this way this loss of the data will be recovered, and signal has been generated for the for each and every layer. Right, so that's it. From in next session, we are going to see next topic. Maybe it's an application of neural network, right? So that's it. That's all for the day. We are going to conclude our session here only. If you have any doubt or query regarding the same, kindly contact me. Thank you so much.